Hey everybody, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the Collider Video Studios here in Burbank, California. I'm still buzzing over the best burn of the year delivered by Ronda Rousey on Floyd Mayweather. That was awesome.
Also here is Kristian Harloff.
What's going on? I feel like I haven't been with you guys for a little bit too, and I even have this. Look at this. Of what wasn't. I missed it. I'm bummed, but nice to see everybody.
Also here's Mark Ellis.
I got mine in the car. It's probably going to stay there for a while. I should have brought it out for the show. I'm not original.
I forgot mine at Comic-Con at the panel.
Come on,
I know.
man.
I'm really bummed.
It's an honor.
Cereal boxes in your car from 2012.
As many of you know, Disney has recently been investing heavily in producing live-action versions of some of their animated classics. Alice in Wonderland, Maleficent, and Cinderella will soon be joined by Beauty and the Beast and Dumbo. And now you can add Aladdin to the list, sort of. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Disney is developing a live-action Aladdin prequel to be called Genies. The film will explore the realm of the genies and explain how one became trapped inside the iconic lamp. The long-term hope, then, is for Genies to develop as a franchise and pave the way for a live-action retelling of Aladdin itself. Friday the 13th remake writers Damien Shannon and Mark Swift are currently writing the script, and Trip Vinson, who also recently was announced to produce the upcoming Prince Charming film for Disney, will produce this film. John, what do you think of a live-action Aladdin prequel?
It's funny, we were sitting around here before the camera started rolling, and I was about to bring up something. Say, you know this Genies thing, and as soon as I said that, Ashley's like, "Oh my God, I am so excited!" So we should start over with Ashley. Actually, do you like?
Oh my gosh,
news,
I'm
Ashley?
freaking excited! I'm like ecstatic to see if it really goes all the way to an Aladdin movie. Who is going to be cast? This is like, I've been thinking about this since I was like 5 years old. I am so excited. I cannot wait for this. I'm ecstatic.
I have a mixture of feelings on this. On the one hand, I thought, look, this is something, we've said this about a couple of the Disney properties. This is something that has the potential to be extremely cinematic. When you talk about the genies and doing live, especially when you talk about, like, the terminology they used, I believe, was the realm of the genies, and looking into the story about what gets somebody into that lamp in the first place, and that now existence of servitude with all the power in the universe and all that kind of stuff. That's fascinating. The one concern I have going into it is, how closely do you try to connect this? How closely do you try to make this what the 1990s animated thing was with Robin Williams? Because newsflash, there ain't any other Robin Williams. There's just not. And if you try to make that genie the genie from the animated movie, I fear it's going to be a poor shadow of what Robin Williams was. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do the Aladdin story. That doesn't mean you can't do a different incarnation of that genie. And if they go that way, I'm going to be really excited. If they go and try to mimic or reproduce the Robin Williams genie, I think they're setting themselves up for a lot of hurt. But I mean, who knows? I'm not sure. Mark, you heard this news. What's your reaction to it?
I think it's easier to cast a new Marty McFly than it is a genie trying to replace Robin Williams. Having said that, this premise really intrigues me because you can have a lot of comedic talent you can cast as various genies in whatever state they are. If they're real people, if they're already genies, if they're trapped inside of a lamp. This is an interesting premise. The fact that it's the guys who did the Friday the 13th reboot, I'm not going to go jumping for joy over, but I mean, I'm glad somebody's working on it, because this is probably the way you go with Aladdin. Because the best part of Aladdin, I don't know what Ashley's take on it yet is that you have genies, like the flying carpet and the cute little monkey that's hanging out with Aladdin and Jasmine. That's all fine. The best part was Robin Williams as the genie, so I want to know more about their backstory. I like that they're aiming at this, but obviously I'm going to have apprehension where you don't have Robin Williams being able to be in the film anymore. Now, if you connect it, because we always see prequels, like even something as recent as Minions or the Star Wars prequels are going to try to connect it to the universe that we know and love. If you give an homage to the Robin Williams genie, or you hint at it somehow towards the end, it's like a baby genie, it's going to grow up to be the Robin Williams genie, I think that's probably the appropriate way to handle that. And as far as this actual premise, I'm in. It sounds cool.
Now, of course, notwithstanding the Robin Williams thing, as I've said before, the big question now that we'll be going over the Twitter sphere is, will Gilbert Godfrey come back as the parrot? That's really the question. Anyway, Kristian.
There's a lot to be excited for. There's a lot to be nervous about. Let's start with the fact of the track record right now with these live action. You start Alice in Wonderland. Maleficent, Cinderella
was a win. Cinderella was a win.
Cinderella was wins, but what Cinderella did right that I thought those other ones did wrong was, yes, they changed the mythology, but not enough to get you upset the way that the other two did. Like the other two just turned what you liked about it and just said, well, we're going to do something completely different. As where Cinderella hit the beats but still made some changes. Aladdin can do the same thing. The thing that makes me nervous here is that if you take, because Mark, what you have to do, even if they did a nod to that Robin Williams thing, what they're gearing up to is to make a remake of the one that we like. So eventually, and I agree with you, you can't redo the Robin Williams thing, but you can make a genie that hits those comedic beats and has a new retelling, a new comedian that has a new telling on it. No matter who it is, you're always going to get compared to Robin Williams. But look at what Heath Ledger did. As soon as and I know it's completely, you have a dramatic role as opposed to comedic, but Heath Ledger, he's never going to be as good as Jack Nicholson, but he has his own spin, and now you can't think of anyone else. So there's that. I'm with Mark 100%. Friday the 13th remake, Raiders. That doesn't get me terribly excited, but you never know what can happen. I don't want to see too many comedic genies bantering off one each other the whole movie, because then it becomes kind of a spoofy comedy, but mixed with those fantastic elements with the magic carpets. There's a chance to do something really special with this property and make it epic, and to do something very unique, to tie in this whole trilogy of Aladdin movies, if you will. That could be a lot of fun, but it's a bit of a task.
You raise a really great point. I am cool with them still trying to do a comedic genie. Just let whoever you're going to do it make it their comedic genie.
Don't Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray. Dan Aykroyd trying to be Bill Murray from Caddyshack too, something like that.
Give me a new take.
Exactly. Like Jim Gaffigan. Okay, make it Jim Gaffigan's genie then.
Right.
Don't do Stephen Wright's genie. That's not going to be nearly as entertaining.
I would love to see a Stephen Wright genie. Actually.
Take a wish, whatever you want.
What's next?
The first trailer for the new Tina Fey and Amy Poehler comedy Sisters hit the web yesterday. Sisters follows two disconnected siblings who are summoned home to clean out their childhood bedroom before their parents sell the family house. Looking to recapture their glory days, they throw one final high school-style party for their classmates, which turns into the cathartic rager that a bunch of ground-down adults really need. Mark, what did you think of the first Sisters trailer?
I think it shows promise. I didn't laugh that much watching the trailer, but that never has been something that prevents me from wanting to see a comedy. I like when they don't give away the best jokes in the trailer. It was surprising, obviously, to see the role that Tina Fey is playing and the role that Amy Poehler is playing. I would have those switched like it was in Baby Mama, where you more expect Tina Fey to be the straight-laced one and Amy Poehler to be the crazy one. I like that they turned that premise on its ear. I think the idea overall is funny that you have this rager at your house one more time. The trailer itself, as a piece of art, didn't care for it that much, but as an advertisement for a movie that I think has promise, I'm on board. I love these two, so anything that they do. John Cena, by the way, popping into the end of the trailer, much like he does in Trainwreck. If his performance in Trainwreck is any indication to what he can do in this movie, I'm definitely going to pay to see it.
You raised up a point. I also thought maybe you'd see those roles reversed, but it worked for Pineapple Express, so maybe it's kind of a good thing that they're switching them up. Look, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, these guys are awesome. Therefore, anything they do is going to be awesome, right? Nope. This is a horrible trailer. This trailer sucks. There was nothing funny about it. I was so excited when I heard that this trailer dropped, because these two are just like perfection. I love everything these guys do, especially when they do it together. There's such a great comedic chemistry between the two of them, both when it's like a live sort of thing, whether they're doing the Golden Globes, when they're on screen together. Their individual work, I love. I was so excited about this, but I cannot let my fandom of the two of them clear up this mucky murk of the fact that this trailer sucked. It actually has turned me off the movie. I agree. I don't want to see something that's going to give away the best jokes. But damn it, your trailer better make me laugh. And I don't think I grinned. I don't think I grinned once. So here's hoping the next one does a lot better, because, man, we're not off to a good start.
I want to take Theon Greyjoy's name away and say this trailer reeks. It's not good. And I really like these two a lot. And I actually think they did that one movie together. I forget, it was like where Amy Poehler is pregnant. And
Baby Mama.
Baby Mama.
Yeah.
Right. So that worked for me. So I still think that this movie could work because they work together so well. And the director of the first Pitch Perfect, it could be really funny. And like you said, Mark, John Cena was amazing in Trainwreck. If they can put those cameos together the right way, I still think this movie could work and probably will. And I don't know why it is. As Amy Poehler gets older, I find myself more attracted to her. I don't know what that is, but she's
in that shot in
and
particular,
especially in that shot. But it's just this trailer. None of the jokes hit, and it's like they were trying so hard to say, "Oh, watch how outrageous this can be," and watch these play on words, and look how clever we're. It was just like two friends who put together this trailer that they didn't want anyone to see because it's like the dailies that hit the floor and then it accidentally got out. They're like, oh, well, that didn't go over well. The next trailer, hopefully, is this a rated R movie? Do we know? Because if it's not, then we're definitely in trouble.
Yeah, if it's not,
if it's rated R, let me see the Red Band trailer, because you look at a trailer like Spy,
right?
Which the PG-13 trailer was terrible. The Red Band trailer was amazing. It turned out to be a pretty good movie. So, here's to hoping.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at something like Hot Pursuit, which is just an awful movie. It's like something that happens in a gas station bathroom that should never get out. Yeah. It's a terrible, terrible movie. But that had Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara, and I've never seen them together before. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I really trust this. I trust them. So even if the trailer isn't that good, when it comes to a comedy, if I trust you enough, the people who are on the movie poster, I can walk in and say, okay, I didn't love the trailer, but that's okay because I put my faith in these people. Yeah, so I'm willing to risk the $10 with these two.
And yet the trailer for Hot Pursuit was better than this trailer. But this movie, look, you're right. I trust these guys. The movie's going to be, I trust that this movie is going to be better than what the trailer just represented to us. But as long as we're just talking about the trailer, got to call it like I see it. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
As many of you know, the sixth and supposedly final installment of the Resident Evil franchise was delayed from production when director Paul W.S. Anderson and star Mila Jovovich announced that they were expecting their second child last year. A year later, and things seem to be ready to roll. Jovovich took to her Instagram account to post this picture and said the following: "Well, the moment so many of you have been waiting for is finally here, where I can tell you that it's zombie killing season for the Jovovich-Anderson clan. Here I am getting my face cast made for Resident Evil, the final chapter. I leave for South Africa tomorrow to start prepping for the movie. Kristian, buy or sell Resident Evil, the final chapter?"
I sell it, and if you don't want it, I'll give it to you for free. I just don't care. I don't care about this movie. I don't care if you told me that Daniel Day-Lewis was going to be in this movie. I don't care. But she's not talking to me. She's talking to the hardcore fans that are waiting for this movie. So if I was a hardcore Resident Evil fan, I would buy it. But the slow motion, hey, look at this, the blade in my face. Because that thing happens every trailer. That'll happen again. I don't even know what this movie's about anymore. It's turned completely different from the video game that I loved, that I played from the first time. It's a 3D trick now. It's like, look how cool. The 3D is always pretty cool in these movies. That's what they go for. But there are these hardcore Resident Evil fans that should be excited for the next installment in their franchise.
I sell this thing. I haven't liked a single one of the films that have come out. And it's too bad Schnepp's not on the panel today, because I know while Schnepp is not one of the hardcore fans, they are some of his guilty pleasure movies. He has a lot of fun with them, so it would be nice to have him here to balance that out. But for me, I've never cared for the movies. I've tried them. I've tried to sit through each one that comes out, but they come and they fail. And this kind of, and I was actually very impressed with Anderson and Jovovich when they realized they were going to have another baby, and they said, you know what, this is more important than what we're doing with these movies, and they delayed their own movie a whole year. I thought that was the right move, but it doesn't change the fact that I don't think these are good movies, nor have I forgiven them yet for what they did with the Three Musketeers. So yeah, for me, it's got to be a sell.
I mean, it's really hard to not buy something by Paul Anderson, the guy that did Mortal Kombat, the greatest video game movie of all time. But I just sell because I personally don't care about it. I do echo y'all sentiments where, yeah, if you're a hardcore fan, you don't want somebody else stepping into those shoes, because Mila Jovovich is so good in that role, and she's made that character iconic to that fan base.
Yeah, she has.
So it'd be hard for somebody else to step in and try to take that role on. So I'm glad for you fans out there that she's back doing it. I just personally do not care about these movies. It's like they come out and it's not even like oh, should I see that? It just doesn't hit the newswire in Mark Ellis land at all.
The screening comes out, you're like, oh, I'm in Ohio that week.
I book my gigs around Resident Evil movies coming out.
All right, what's next?
Actor Cody Walker, one of the surviving brothers of Paul Walker, who filled in for Paul in some of his uncompleted scenes in Fast and Furious 7, has signed on to star alongside Nicolas Cage in the upcoming film USS Indianapolis: Men of Courage. According to Variety, the film, which is based on the true story, follows Cage, who plays the role of Captain Charles Butler McVeigh, whose ship was torpedoed in the South Pacific in July of 1945 after delivering parts for the first atomic bombs. Their mission was classified so the Indianapolis was not reported missing until 4 days later. Of 1,196 crewmen aboard, approximately 300 went down with the ship, while the rest faced exposure, dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and shark attacks as they waited for assistance. Only 317 sailors survived. John Byers sell the sounds of USS Indianapolis: Men of Courage.
I have been wanting to see a movie on this story ever since Jaws. And I was just a child when Jaws came out, and even then, I went that story made so famous by the three guys sitting around in the boat, and he's telling the story of that ship and what happened to those guys. I've been wanting to see that movie. Not so thrilled with who I'm hearing getting casting at this point, especially in what we're led to believe are significant roles. But because of the story itself, I am still going to buy it. I want to see this story told on screen. Would I prefer it if, Christopher Nolan was helming this and it was good? Yeah, I would. But you know what? This is a story I've been waiting for a long time to see told as a motion picture. So on that basis alone, I'm going to buy it. Christian?
I'm going to buy Nicolas Cage's hairpiece. That's amazing. Look at that thing. The death of Nicolas Cage's hair. What happened? I think that it's a buy for me. What's interesting, I agree with you. I wanted to see this story for a long time. Robert Downey Jr. was interested in this thing. His company was interested in doing this for a very long time.
Wow.
That would have been interesting. I would have liked to have seen that. Nicolas Cage always scares me. Not scaring me in the fact that I'm terribly entertained to watch whatever he does. More times than not, it's been cartoony lately. His performances. But if you look at a movie, even though the movie wasn't that great, Joe, he was great. That was Nicolas Cage coming to act. So maybe if he shows up in this one, now in regards to Cody Walker, don't know enough about him. It's nice to see that he's getting out there and he's doing some stuff, and maybe this is a role that he wins us over, and you go, wait a minute, this dude, he's got the chops, and this is a great story to do it. But I agree with you, John. It's like I think that it's a matter of what team we have, but this is a good enough story that I want to see it come to the screen.
Oh, Nicolas Cage is coming to play, baby. This is the start of the
Get away from the sharks.
I mean, this. What if we had a shared universe with Jaws where Nicolas Cage was the Robert Shaw character?
Yeah.
You can clearly see Nicolas Cage 30 years later turning into the nutcase sailor that scratches his fingernails on the chalkboard. I mean, this is it.
At this point, he'd want to play the shark.
I would let him. It's Nicolas Cage. Take off the hairpiece. You look better without it. I actually had the honor in the late 90s. I met a survivor of the USS Indianapolis, and I was shaking. I've never been more nervous to talk to anybody in my entire life to meet a hero like that, to see this story finally on screen. I hope they do it right, because there's a whole backstory with a lot of the people that did survive that ship. So I hope that they can tell that story in its entirety, but to portray that on screen, exactly what these brave men went through for 4 days when nobody even knew they were lost. It's an incredible thing. I don't know enough about Cody Walker. I was watching Fast 7. I was like, oh, this guy, I thought it was Paul Walker the whole time, so I had no idea. So I don't know what he can pull off, but if he's he looks able-bodied like a sailor, so I'll give him the credit. Nicolas Cage is coming to play. The Nakajassance starts now.
The funny thing about Nicolas Cage is that he has still, even in recent years, shown flashes of the brilliance that we know he is capable of. Like, we all overlook what he did in Kick-Ass, but what he did with Big Daddy in Kick-Ass took a heavy hitter actor to be able to do. He infused so much passion and personality into that guy that we all walked away from Kick-Ass thinking Big Daddy. Also, the Werner Herzog film Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. He was brilliant in that film. That was just a few years ago. So it's like every once in a while, Nicolas Cage decides he cares, and then he turns in he's a 2-time Academy Award winner, if I am not mistaken.
Is he nominated?
Multiple nominations. He's got at least one trophy on his mantle. Every once in a while, that Nicolas Cage decides to show up, and maybe for a story like this, we'll get that. We can just cross our fingers and hope. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show now for a new segment we're going to be doing here on Thursdays called Opening This Week, where we just go over, remind you guys, and bring to your attention the films that are opening this week in theaters across the country. This Opening This Week segment is brought to you by, of course, our friends over at AMC Theaters. So, Ashley, what do we have opening this week?
All right, first up is the newest Marvel film and the final movie of Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ant-Man. Forced out of his own company by former protege Darren Cross, Dr. Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, recruits the talents of Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, a master thief just released from prison who is desperate to reconnect with his daughter. Lang becomes Ant-Man, trained by Pym, and armed with a suit that allows him to shrink in size, possess superhuman strength, and control an army of ants. The miniature hero must use his new skills to prevent Cross, also known as his new alter ego Yellow Jacket, from perfecting the same technology and unleashing it on an unprepared world. The film also stars Lost Evangeline Lilly, House of Cards, Corey Stoll, Michael Pena, and Bobby Cannavale. Next up is the R-rated comedy Trainwreck. Ever since her father drilled into her head that monogamy isn't realistic, magazine writer Amy, played by Amy
Ashley
Schumer,
says that all the time.
has made promiscuity her credo. As much as she enjoys an uninhibited life free of commitment, Amy is really in a rut. While writing a profile about charming and successful sports doctor Aaron Connors, played by SNL's alum Bill Hader, she finds herself actually falling in love for the first time, and what's more, Aaron seems to like her too. Amy starts to wonder if it's time to clean up her act. Trainwreck also stars NBA superstar LeBron James, WWE wrestler John Cena, Brie Larson, and Colin Quinn. All right, guys, should people be looking forward to either of these two films this week?
This is actually a good weekend for new movies coming out. You've heard us talk a lot about Ant-Man, and you know we are, Mark and I have a review up for it. The three of us here, we've got a spoiler review that's going to be up on Friday. So once you've had a chance to see the movie, you can watch a spoiler review. And if you've heard us talk, you know all of us at this table really, really enjoy Ant-Man. It's a very different kind of film, but thoroughly entertaining. I think kind of Michael Pena kind of steals the show a little bit in that. Michael Douglas is awesome in it. Paul Rudd. I was nervous. As much big of a fan as I am as Paul Rudd, would he fit in this pantheon of Marvel superheroes? Damn right he does. Just across the board. So yes, I would recommend running out to see that. And then the new movie Trainwreck. I didn't know what to expect out of this movie. And it's gotten the high 90s, I think, right now on Rotten Tomatoes, the high 90s. I am not as gaga for that movie as a lot of people. I think the movie loses steam in the third act, but the first two acts are so funny, and the movie ends strong. Even though I'm not a big fan of the third act, the movie ends strong at the same time. That it ends up being, for me, a movie I highly recommend for people to go out and see on that night. So what stands out to you guys?
I mean, for me, it's Trainwreck, to be honest. I mean, I've been raving about Ant-Man for a bit from visiting the set and all that.
It's been about
stuff.
a year.
Yeah, for me, I mean, this is, like you said, this is a great weekend for movies. I think that if you're a Marvel fan and you were kind of hesitant about Ant-Man, you'll love it. I think it's a really funny movie, as well as the way it ties into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The reason I say Trainwreck is because, like you, John, I wasn't expecting anything. I'm not an Amy Schumer fan really at all. I don't enjoy her comedy, but she wrote this movie. And it is an extremely well-written movie. You get standout performances from LeBron James, from John Cena.
That's the big surprise was that LeBron James and John Cena were actually entertaining.
Yeah,
in that movie.
I mean, Colin Quinn's great, and Tilda Swinton, who I forgot was even in the movie.
I had no idea that was her until somebody told me after the movie.
Someone tweeted me, and I was like, wait, if she's not in it, oh my God, because she transforms, and she transforms into someone who, she always plays these eccentric kind of weird characters, and she's as normal as she can be in this particular role. But the movie works. It's Apatow's best, I think, since 40-Year-Old Virgin. So both movies are a must to see this weekend.
I think a decision to be made is you got to go Ant-Man, because Ant-Man, I think, is arguably as funny or funnier than Trainwreck, and I like Trainwreck a lot. I thought it was a really well done movie. It was different than what I thought it would be. Going into Ant-Man, I was hoping it was going to be a great blend of action and comedy. That's exactly what I got. Going into Trainwreck, I was expecting something on the more raunchier side, like a Bridesmaids or even Ted, and I got a sweeter When Harry Met Sally story with some really naughty jokes in there. But for the most part, did I just say naughty?
No.
Who am I?
You said naughty.
That joke was naughty, Amy.
That's the poster. It says naughty, Mark Ellis, Collider.
But I mean, I think you can't go wrong either way this weekend, but I would definitely steer you towards Ant-Man. And then if you have money left over, go to see Trainwreck.
It's funny because those reasons are the reasons I think that I liked it, because I thought that that's exactly what was going to be, just raunchy, over the top, top, just
Naughty.
beat you over the head with it, naughty. But there was that heart, and there was that heart, Sally, to where it was a good movie. It's a good film. That's why I really was, I think, more surprised than I even thought I would be. But if you ask me which one would I rather see in the theaters, yeah, Ant-Man, sure. But it's just because Trainwreck surprised me so much.
You know that I don't hear very many people talking about at all when it comes to Trainwreck. Bill
he's
Hader
great.
delivers.
Yeah.
It's like, can Bill Hader be the romantic lead in a comedy like this? Yeah, he can.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that too, because someone had tweeted something out. When I got the initial tweet, I'm like, "Come on, man, you're jumping ahead of yourself." And it's like, Bill Hader next Tom Hanks, and I'm like, "No, we don't." And I'm like, "Wait, well." Here's the thing, and the reason why I even thought this, you can compare this. You look at what Bill Hader's done in his career at Saturday Night Live with comedy, and he was great on Saturday Night Live, standout character. Then he did something dramatic in Skeleton Twins, which he was great in. Then he was just a smaller role, but he was great in The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby. And now he shows that he can hold a comedic lead. I think it's too soon to put him in Tom Hanks category.
Yes,
but he's someone to watch. He's someone to look at. This guy's going to have a long career.
All right, folks. Well, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. If you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, just email us anytime at collidervideo@gmail.com. Every day we take a couple of your questions. So, Ashley, what's in the mailbag today?
D writes, "Hey guys, I love the show. My question is about Batman versus Superman. Many of my friends and family who usually watch comic book films have told me they will not watch this movie because Batman shouldn't be able to fight Superman, and I have seen similar comments online. If the movie is great but a lot of the target demographic doesn't give it a chance, how would it play out? Do you think that people would come in if there was enough buzz for showings in later weeks, or would it ruin the Justice League franchise? Thanks and keep up the good work."
Okay, well, two things, D. Number one, you need new friends, and you need a new family. That's because, number one, they're lying to you. Anybody who says to you, "I'm not going to go see Batman versus Superman," why? Because just the idea that Batman could fight Superman, liar. Liar, they're lying to you. They're deceiving you. Now you got to sit in your room tonight and say, what else have they been lying to me about my whole life? These are questions that are going to haunt you now. It's a ridiculous concept. The question of how does Batman fight Superman is one of the draws of this movie. This is one of the things that makes this appealing. When I watch that trailer for the 1,000th time, we see Batman leaping down onto an already fallen Superman, crashing him down through things like, how did it get to that point? That's part of what this movie's going to be. And also, don't forget, anybody who knows anything about comics knows this. There is precedence in the source material for Batman fighting Superman, how he does that. There's several different ways he does that. We know that kryptonite's going to play a role in this film. We saw that in the trailer. So whether it's a kryptonite kind of solution, whether it's a way Batman develop like a battle armor that gives off the same kind of environmental thing that the Kryptonian ships did that weakened Superman before. I mean, I don't know, but that's part of the question mark. That's part of the wonder of this thing. So I think maybe there are 17 people in America who will not go see Batman versus Superman. 17. That's where I'm putting the number. I don't know. Mark, what do you think?
It'd be great if the whole movie was just 6 minutes long and it was just an easy victory for Superman. He's like, I told you so. I told you. I'll agree with D on this point, is that Batman has to bring his A game. Like, Superman can show up with his C- game and still get an easy victory. Batman's got to come to play. But this is an argument that everybody gets in fights over, is which superhero is going to win in a fight if every superhero fought. And you always say Superman, but then you're like, wait, Batman, okay, he's really rich and he probably knows where, if one guy on Earth can get kryptonite, Bruce Wayne is the guy that can do it. And so if they wanted to fight, it would be a pretty even battle. And you watch the trailer. I mean, these trailers, yes, they're pieces of art in amongst themselves, but they're also made to sell the movie. So watch the trailer and tell me that you're not sold on this film. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see this movie. And yeah, I mean, it sounds silly that somebody could stand up to a huge superpowered alien like Superman, but come on, man. It's Batman. He's scrappy.
He's scrappy, Kristian.
Evander Holyfield's fighting Mike Tyson. I'm not going to watch that. Mike Tyson's going to crush him. How'd that work out? And minus the ear. That was part 2. But what, as far, that's silly. You're putting 2 marquee names up there. Batman versus Superman. For that alone, find out how he does it. Like Mark said, he's a billionaire. He's one of the main things about Batman is how smart he is. How the draw on Batman in general is that he's not a superhero. is that he goes out there, he's a detective, he finds ways to make things happen. That's what's going to happen here. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the biggest movies of all time because just those names. And now because of this trailer, and I haven't really given a chance to even share my thoughts on the trailer anywhere. I love this trailer. I didn't love the teaser when it came out in April. I was like, it's okay. It looks more stylistic. I was blown away by this thing. I can't wait to watch these guys. And that scene where Superman's flying after Batman and he's got the grapple gun and he's like, whoa, you gotta get out of here. And he's taking off. He obviously up against his biggest challenge ever. Yeah. So to me, I want to know how he's going to do it. I want to know what he's going to put on. I mean, now I have other speculations of what Zod, when you see him there, what he's ultimately used for. I think we've even speculated what that's going to be, but we don't know if maybe, like you said, John, that Bruce Wayne finds his way into that to find Zod and to design his suit. There's so many ways. I'm super excited for this movie. It's becoming something I cannot wait to see.
Look, if I'm Superman, and I find out that one of the smartest, richest, with access to all the resources in the world, most pissed off men on the planet has determined, rightly or wrongly, that I am a threat to the weak and the innocent, I'm nervous. Yeah. It doesn't matter that I'm Superman. I'm starting to sweat a little bit, and I think that's some of the things we're going to see here. What were you about to say?
No, I was just going to say, like, don't get new friends overnight. Like slowly phase them out. They don't know what's coming. You got some time before March rolls around, so just to stop responding to them as quickly, they'll start to get the hint. By next March, you can come hang out with us and go see the movie.
All right, what's next?
Ewan Power writes, do you feel that your confidence in Neil Blomkamp has been knocked after the disaster that was Chappie? Personally, I feel that mine was, and I can't help but think that the decision for him to direct the next Alien film may now be a mistake. What are your views on this? I still have faith in Blomkamp, as District 9 is one of the best sci-fi films of modern times, IMO. I just can't help feeling a bit apprehensive for the Alien franchise now.
My confidence in Neil Blomkamp started to get shaken with the disaster that was Elysium. I mean, maybe disaster is too strong of a word. Elysium wasn't a disaster. What was it? It was not a good film, and I was really disappointed by it because as an artist, I wanted to see something out of him, and what I got was a complete carbon copy of what he had already done with District 9. Visually, story-wise, the narrative plot points were the exact same running through it, and I was disappointed by it a lot because I was so excited for Elysium. Chappie was a train wreck. I know there are some people out there who really enjoyed Chappie, and that's awesome. For me personally, though, I thought it was a total train wreck. But when I start to feel real despair about Neil Blomkamp, I go back and I watch District 9 again. That movie wasn't a fluke. That wasn't a fluke. This dude's got talent. He can tell creative stories, and he can utilize, really creative visual imagery. So I still have hope for Alien. But if the question is, has my hope taken a hit because of these last two films? Yeah, I admit it. It's taken a hit, so I'm a little bit nervous now about it. Kristian, what about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely nervous about it for sure. I did not like Elysium, but I liked it a lot better than I liked Chappie. I thought there were moments I've gone back and watched Elysium again. I still don't like it, but it's more because of the powering you over the head with the message more
right.
than the guy's a good filmmaker. There's some amazing visuals in Elysium. Now Chappie, I thought the casting was poor, and I thought that there are again elements out there that in that movie that could be done well. The visual effects are incredible, and I will say this: that review, we did a review for Chappie, and there are a lot of people that love that movie. Strangely enough, there are a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say strangely enough. There are a lot of people who love that movie and think that we're crazy for not liking it. So he has a pretty strong fan base. Now, as far as the Alien remake goes, or whatever it is, continued telling of it. Yeah, I'm nervous because I looked on IMDb just now and I was like, well, he's not going to be writing. Oh, he's writing it. And that just makes me, because everything so far has just been him writing. I want to see what he does with someone else's script because he's a very talented visual filmmaker, but he's got a place near and dear to his heart for Alien. So I am actually sad. I do think he's the right guy for the job.
Me too, man. I didn't like Chappie at all, but this message is brought to you by Blue Shield of California. I loved Elysium. I thought it was great. And I love District 9 too. So I'm on board with him making Alien. Yeah, I mean, I thought Chappie was like, it just got worse and worse and worse. But I kept watching it. You're right. It was like a car crash on the highway. It's like, I can't not look at this. It's that bad and disappointing. I think it's going to happen with Alien. And let's be honest, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if Alien isn't great? We just throw it into the DVD pile with Alien versus Predator.
It sinks
the
his
other
career,
versus
though.
Predator.
If he fails at Alien, his
For
career's-
him,
his
yeah,
career's done, right?
yeah. but
That'll
you
be
can-
3 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be 2 in a row, Mr.
Okay,
Campea.
I stand corrected.
But
I apologize.
I do think, as of right now, I think he's the right guy for the job, like Kristian said.
All right, last question of the day.
Jacob Vasquez writes, "Hey guys, love the show. I watch it every day. I was wondering what you think Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackle's chances are at becoming legitimate movie stars. Neither has done anything outside of Supernatural for the past 5 years. And while I never want the show to end, I would like for them to be recognized by a larger audience, and I think they have the talent for it. Thanks, and bring on the filthy."
Supernatural has actually been my favorite TV show for years.
Wow.
I love that show. I really, really do. I'm a huge fan of both of those guys, Dean and Sam Winchester. I mean, they bring it all the time. I just love watching them as characters. I've been watching it. I think the show's been on for 9 seasons now, and I've been following it so much that I feel like I know these guys and all that kind of stuff. Chances that they become legitimate movie stars, about the same as mine. Yeah, none. Look, they tried it a while ago. I think it was like something Cupid for
That's a dating site.
one.
Okay, Cupid.
Yeah,
Like he was in
and
House of
then,
Wax, too.
then like the Friday the 13th reboot for
Yeah.
Jared Padalecki. He tried that. It fizzled for both of them, and I didn't think either of them were bad in those ones either. But it's just that thing. They've been in one TV series for so long. It becomes really, really difficult for big TV stars who get started as TV stars, who have big success as TV stars, to then make that transition. It's happened maybe 20 times in 20 years. So, and if it hasn't happened for them at this point, I don't think it's going to happen for them, because that's fine with me. Give me 10 more seasons of Supernatural. I don't know, Kristian, what do you think?
It's possible, but it's a road. It's a long, long road.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, and it's all about agents and managers and that thing as well. Okay, do the small indie film, show you got the chops, get some buzz on it, and that's not an easy task. It's it's like the lottery. So it's a matter of getting, because like you said, most casting agents are gonna say, the Supernatural guys are coming in. Okay, we know them from the Supernatural thing. What can they do? They put them in a horror movie. They put them in some fantasy type thing, and they don't get the chance to shine. So by doing these smaller films, hitting in a big role, maybe taking a side role, and then really getting buzz on that, then that gets them the bigger opportunities that can lead to becoming big superstars. But it's hard for actors who have been on a show this long to get out of it. I mean, look at Lost. Like even Evangeline Lilly is doing okay, not a superstar actress, but doing okay. But look at what's this Jack. I mean, where's he?
Everybody else
Matthew
from
Fox. Everyone
Lost,
thought,
yeah.
Everyone thought Matthew Fox was going to be. He tried it. Nope, that's Jack. Didn't work out. You got Jack.
And then the Cajun dude, what was the other?
Right, he's the Cajun dude.
Sawyer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
Sawyer.
right,
yeah.
right. Didn't work.
Sawyer. I mean, he had that one role in that pathetic Chris Brown dance
Well, yeah,
movie.
Mission Impossible. He didn't
He had
work.
a-
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
it
like
just-
the best of whatever the Chris Brown dance movie. He wasn't bad in the Chris Brown dance. If these guys can get themselves a Chris Brown dance vehicle, I think they got a real shot to be superstars.
Yeah, to become It Wasn't Bad as opposed to superstars.
No, that movie was great. Best of the year, something like that. Look, I think these guys actually have a better shot than somebody from the cast of Lost, because Lost was a phenomenon show. Supernatural was more of a cult following, to where they could walk on the street and you'd say, man, that's two really attractive dudes, but not everybody would mob them from Supernatural. So they still have a little bit of anonymity that they can explode on the scene, much like somebody like Chris Pratt, who had smaller roles in something like Moneyball, but was primarily known for being a schlub on Parks and Rec. And these guys don't even have to go. They already went to the gym. They already put in the work. So if you're casting something like, say, they want to make a young Han Solo movie, they want to do something else where you need another star that's an unknown to play, these guys can still be that. So I'm rooting for you, boys.
I'm cheering for him.
Chris Pratt's a few and far between type guy, though.
Very
Like,
few and far
he's
between.
a guy that pops like with that chemistry. There's something like, even every role that he had, even in those small, whether it be a delivery man or whatever it is, you notice him right away because he's just got that thing. Not to say these guys don't, but they've been in these smaller movies and we're trying to remember what they are. Guys that have it, you don't remember what they are, you remember right away. And there's a chance, but it's a long road.
I've been saying that about John for years, though. Like, you remember him from Movie Talk.
All right, folks. That will do it for us for this installment of Collider Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, Lots of great films are playing over at AMC Theaters right now, like Trainwreck and AntMan opening tonight. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course your movie ticket information. If you would love to subscribe to this channel, we would love in return for you to do that. Just look for the subscribe button, subscribe to this channel, keep up to date on everything we're doing over here at Collider Video. I want to thank the guy sitting at the table with me, sitting over here on my left, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you?
I just changed my handle to @NaughtyChat, so check that out. @5150 Ellis on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm going to post all my fall stand-up tour dates tomorrow. They go live, so make sure you're ready to buy tickets.
Sitting over here on my right, Mr. Kristian Harloff. Kristian, where can people find you?
You just picked up 1 million followers just by changing that name.
To Naughty Chat.
Yeah, where can they find me? Right here. You can find me at Kristian Harloff on both Twitter and Instagram. Please, on Twitter, so many great Star Wars questions talking about that in general. It's the three of us. We're going to be on Collider Jedi Council today. #Collider Jedi Council. Get your questions on the air.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
On Twitter and on Instagram @AshleyMova. Happy Thursday, guys.
And of course, you guys can follow me on all the various social media networks on Twitter or on Facebook, just @John Campea. That'll do it for us, guys. My name's John Campea for Collider Video, and until next time, bye-bye.